Hi everyone, Chris here. Welcome back to Dream, Build, and Fly. In producing some content for an upcoming release we're going to do with a small RC plane design, I made a mention about the importance of proper selection of balsa wood for the tail surface of the plane. So it's very important. I thought I'd just produce a quick separate video on the item just to explain it a little better. Don't want to get into any length in the main build video there. So just going to explain what I was talking about and why this is a very important concept for this build and you know, for in general for any general model construction built out of balsa, especially when you're using sheeted tail surfaces. So, you know, a scale is a very handy item to have around, and I'm going to show you why. If I just randomly selected about 20 sheets of 1/16 by 4-inch balsa out of my stash here, and you know, you throw them all on the scale, they weigh about 25 grams average, which is, you know, decent balsa. It's not a contest balsa, but it's decent balsa to build with. If you built this tail section with 25-gram balsa, you're going to do good. So I'm just going to show you the extremes here. I'm going to switch back and forth between measurements. I'm metric and standard, so I'll switch back and forth. Bear with me through this. If we throw the heavy sheet on, 54 grams, you know, 2 ounces. We throw the light sheet that we found in this pile on, 13.3 grams, you know, half an ounce kind of thing. So less than half an ounce. So there's a ×4 difference between the heavy sheet to the light sheet on this just quick random selection of balsa wood. So what does that mean for us? Well, you know, if we build this out of 25-gram wood, you know, 1 ounce per sheet wood, this assembly should come out around 1.5 ounces or about 40 grams. The trouble is if we use the heavy wood, say we had a few sheets of heavy wood and we chose those sheets to build this tail section, we could double the weight of it. It would be 80 grams, you know, what are we, about 3 ounces. So the fact is that we can double the weight of this tail surface. Well, there's a little bit bigger issue when you talk about doubling. Throwing 1.5 ounces on a 16 to 20 ounce plane, yeah, it's gonna affect your performance. It's not that big a deal. But here's the problem. I'm just gonna pull this into view here. If we add 1.5 ounces to the tail, or you know, we add 40 grams to the tail, we have a 3-to-1 moment ratio. So, you know, we build a heavy tail, we're going to have to add some nose weight to compensate for that if the plane is designed correctly. If we add 1.5 ounces to the tail, we're going to have to add 4.5 ounces to the nose, 6 ounces total. We're going to take a 16-ounce plane and add 6 ounces to it. That's significant. That's why weights are so important. A simple scale with some good resolution to weigh balsa, you know, they're fairly cheap. You can get them online. Online retailers sell them, you know, 20, 30 bucks, you're going to get a fairly decent one. It's an excellent item to have in your workshop. Always handy to have a scale around. You know, you use it for other purposes, but one that weigh out balsa wood and make sure you're getting the right density in the right spot. Perfect addition to have in the shop. So in short, get yourself a scale, weigh your balsa wood, and as always, dream, build, and fly. And be sure to punch the subscribe button right down here. Thanks so much.